Hello everybody and happy Friday. It's Andrea Chapman over at Sewspire.com. Today I am going to teach you how to make what I'm calling a little candy catcher. We've got a little less than 2 weeks till Halloween here, and I think this would make an adorable gift basket. Maybe for a coworker, a neighbor, a teacher. Imagine you could fill it up with little candies and put a special note on them and wish them a happy Halloween. This color scheme works with Thanksgiving as well, and you could use this same pattern to create gift baskets for Valentine's Day or Christmas or St. Patrick's Day just by changing the color scheme. So for this project you are going to need assorted pieces of fabric. I'm going to give you the measurements here. You're going to need 6 2.5 inch by 10 inch strips of fabric, and I have selected an assortment of colors for those and patterns. You're going to need 2 3 by 10 inch strips of fabric and 2 2-inch by 10-inch strips. You're also going to need 2 3-inch by 8-inch strips, and then 2 10 by 10-inch squares, as well as 2 10 by 10-inch pieces of Pellon if you would like your basket to stand alone and be stiff or rigid, or you can use 2 10 by 10-inch squares of quilt batting. And for this demonstration I'm going to use the quilt batting. It's much easier to work with than the stiff Pellon. It's actually called Peltex, this brand, but I think there is another brand called Pellon as well. So to begin, you're going to take your batting and position your 10 by 10-inch square atop of that, and repeat that for the other piece. And then place the fabric right sides together, and we're going to stitch down 3 sides of this fabric sandwich, reinforcing at the top on each end. So when you begin and when you end, you're going to reinforce. At the corners, you're going to leave your needle down and pivot. And as I approach the top, I'm going to reinforce with the back stitch. Alright, now I've created like a fabric envelope, and I'm going to use Sewing Skill number 2 to create my boxy corners. And what I'm doing is reaching inside of there and I'm aligning the side seam with the base seam, and I'm going to stitch across the base of that to create a 4-inch gusset or base. So it measures 4 inches from thumb to thumb, and I'm going to do my best to sew a straight line across that. And I reinforce at the beginning and the end. And now to the right of my stitching, I am going to trim off that little triangle there, and that you can throw away. And now we've created our boxy base. We're going to repeat that on the other side, creating a 4-inch wide corner. And I'm aligning the side seam and the base and reinforcing at either end. And before I trim that up, I'm just going to double check. by aligning those and making sure that my width is correct, and it is. And then I will trim just a little to the right of the stitching. And now I have created the interior of my little candy catcher. I'm going to fold that edge out just about an inch. We're going to set this interior aside while we assemble the exterior. So I have my assorted pieces here. The pieces that measure 3 inches by 8 inches are going to become the handles, so set those aside for right now. And you should be left with 10-inch strips of fabric. So we're going to use 5 for each side. I'm going to bring these back so you all can see them. It doesn't matter which order you attach these strips together. Just make sure that you have 5 identical size pieces on each side. So I'm just going to create 2 piles here so I don't accidentally say put 2 of the 3-inch pieces on one side, because then my measurements won't work out. Alright, so now I have my front and my back of the exterior, 5 pieces in total, and I'm going to connect those all together to create 2 panels that will measure 10 inches by 10 inches. I'm using Sewing Skill number 1 fabric piecing to join these individual cuts of fabric. And just start with the first 2 pieces and lining up the long edges. I'm going to sew end to end, reverse stitching at the beginning and the end to reinforce until I build 2 panels. I'm going to repeat that process until I have 2 nice panels. Okay, and panel 1 is complete. I'm going to repeat the process to create panel 2. Alright, we have the second panel done. Now you want to head on over to the ironing board and press all of those seams flat on the back, and then flip it over on the front and press that nice and flat as well. And now we have 2 gorgeous festive panels which should measure 10 inches by 10 inches, and they do, yay! Let's take both of those panels and position them right sides together, and we're going to stitch down and across and up 3 sides, reinforcing at the top, and then we're going to create those same box corners at the base which measure 4 inches wide. And as I approach the top, I'm going to reinforce with the back stitch. Alright, I've stitched around 3 sides to create the same fabric envelope that we had with the interior. I'm going to reach inside and align the side seams and the base seam to create a boxy corner, which is going to be 4 inches from thumb to thumb, and I'm going to stitch across that imaginary line and reinforce at the beginning and the end. And there we have our first corner, and we'll trim that just a little to the right of the stitching. One corner is complete. We're going to flip that over and repeat the same process on the other side. And now we can turn around this gorgeous exterior and reveal all our pretty patchwork design. I love that. Pretty, pretty. You can just check and make sure everything's as you'd like it. And now for this process, you're going to fold the top edge inward approximately 3/4 of an inch. And I just use my fingers to press that down, but you certainly could take it over to the iron and press that if you like. And I eyeball it to make sure everything looks even. And then with that sitting there, I'm going to fit the interior inside of that. And then I'm going to align the side seams first. And place a pin in there to hold that. I'm going to go over to the other side and align those side seams first. Put a pin in it to hold it. And then I come to the center. And I'm going to place a pin in the center front. And go to the rear. I'm going to place a pin in the center rear. And now that that is secure with the pins, I can fiddle with it a little bit more. I like to take my project and fold it flat and just make sure that the sides are even and they look good. The measurements look good. It's so cute. Now at this point, if you wanted, you could sew all the way around the edge and just have a really darling little cubby basket, which you could fold over the edge like that and fill up with treats. Or you can create the handles like I've done here with the remaining 2 pieces of fabric, which measure 3 by 8. And at the ironing board, to create the strap or the handle, you're going to take your fabric and fold it in half long ways. And you're going to press down the center, then open that back up, and on that press line, fold the edge in to meet on the press line. Repeat that for the other side, meeting on the press line. And now you're going to fold over the folded edges like that to create a little strap. I'm going to stitch down this open end to close that, and then top stitch down the other end to create your strap. And with this, you're stitching as close as you can to the edge without going over. And now I have my first little tiny strap. And it's just so cute. I'm going to go over the iron and press up this strap and then stitch that. Alright, and we have our second strap now. So we're going to take the 2 straps, and those are going to be positioned approximately an inch from each edge of the side seam. And you're going to just tuck that raw end of the strap down in between your exterior and your interior layers and put a pin in that. And then you take the other edge and repeat that on the other side, tucking it in between the two layers, the same distance from that side seam. Put a pin in it. That's what that'll look like. And you repeat that on the other side. Super cute. And now the last step is just to sew all the way around this edge so you're securing the interior, the exterior, and the handles. If you're going to put heavy goodies inside of here, you're going to want to back stitch or reinforce with a second row of stitching at the handles. And the easiest way to do this is going to be to remove that deck portion of your machine so you have the skinnier arm here. And I like to start at the handle. You position it on the machine deck and then put the foot down and take out your pin. You don't want to sew through the pins. So take out your pins as you go around, and you're just going to travel nice and slow. You're going to need to reinforce with a back stitch at the beginning and the end. As I approach the beginning of my stitching, I'm going to come overlap the stitching just a smidge, and then back stitch to reinforce. Yay, we're done. All right. Now you just want to trim up your threads. And now you have an absolutely adorable gift that truly is a one-of-a-kind because of the patchwork design here. I wanted to show you the difference between that heavyweight Pellex and the quilt batting. Just like this is very rigid, and this one I can smash down. My preference, honestly, is the quilt batting because you can wash it up. It offers you some other styling alternatives. Like that's just as cute, right? It's soft, lightweight. It's certainly easier to sew with too. But there might be a case where you really do need that to be more rigid, and then you always have that option of using a heavyweight interfacing. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I certainly did. It's always a pleasure to sew with you. If you would be a dear and share this video or this page link with at least one other person, I would be so grateful. As you know, I am on a mission to teach 10,000 women how to sew. I definitely need your help spreading the word if I'm going to accomplish this goal in a year or less. And I hope that you can do that for me. Also, if you're able to make this project and post photos on social media, please tag at Sewspire on Instagram or Twitter. I would love to see your projects and cheer you on. So until next Friday, you all have a beautiful weekend.